Purple Disco Machine recently put out his new single Paradise together with Sophie and The Giants. I've been really enjoying this song and wanted to challenge myself to recreate it and share with you the process behind it. So let's dive straight into it. At the start of the song, we are immediately greeted by a high energy intro that just makes you want to move. We have a very simple drum groove, a synth arpeggio, this resonant sweep pad, and this laser effect. Now let's zoom in on our drums first, as they play a crucial role in solidifying the foundation of the track. Our kick comes from the Leno sample pack, a great resource for high quality disco and funk samples, and is the kick tape rich sample. I'm then using 2 layers for our snare drum, which plays on every second and fourth beat. We also have a simple closed hi-hat pattern consisting of 8 notes with varying velocity levels, as well as this simple clap and head loop from the Oliver pack that in turn glues together the groove. Oh, and importantly, we are applying this high-pass filter on the kick to make sure that through an automation clip, its low end is not yet revealed during the intro, but only kicks in when the verse starts playing. Next, I'd like to talk about the other intro elements, such as the arpeggio, being the Analog Authority preset from Omnisphere, which plays the following melody. On this ARP sound, I've done a bit of tweaking through processing, as I've added a tel chorus for some extra harmonics, then a DJM filter to close off our synth a bit, which gradually opens up through this automation clip of the cutoff level. I also have an EQ to make the ARP slightly thinner, some reverb and delay being applied for atmosphere, and then Magma BB tubes to provide much needed depth and attack to our sound. Another intro element is this resonant sweep pad, also coming from Omnisphere, which consists of several octave layers of the note F sharp and its perfect fifth C sharp. And this pad kind of serves as a sweep through the automation that is being applied on the filter cutoff level of this instance of DJM filter, which ensures that the pad becomes increasingly high passed with fewer and fewer low and mid frequencies. And then we have this laser effect sound, which I made in Serum, and this basically consists of several saw wave voices, which are being shaped by these 3 short and plucky envelope shapes over here. Now, through these intro elements, we finally reach the opening verse, where the previously discussed drum groove keeps playing, while we introduce 3 new elements. A synth pad slowly evolving from a low-pass filter, playing the chord progression of this song, which is a 4-5-6 progression. A bass that follows the bass notes of the chords. And these reverb claps playing at the end of every 4th bar. Let's begin by discussing the synth pad, which is this preset I found in the Oliver pack on Splice, which is another great resource for disco and funk samples and synth presets. Now, the magic of this sound is coming directly from envelope 2 being linked to the filter cutoff, which generates this sound that goes wow, because the filter is being triggered to quickly open each time a note is played. And while that does sound cool already, I felt there was potential to spice things up a bit more through the mixer. I'm adding a subtle touch of tel chorus to add in some extra harmonics. I also have an S1 imager to make our synth sound a bit wider, an OTT to add some sheen and sparkle to our sound, and my beloved vintage verb to help accentuate the dreamy Viper after. And altogether, this is what our synth sounds like without the low pass filter we're applying throughout the verse to conceal the pad. Then to create the bass in the verse, I'm using two layers. The first one comes from Serum, which is the blissful Serum bass in the Boss preset. And this layer serves as the main component of our overall bass sound. And the second bass layer comes from Silent 1, which is the deep sub preset and provides the bottom end component of our bass sound. Now the drums, synth pad, and bass gradually lead us to the pre-chorus, where these elements are repeated, but the synth pad now sounds a lot more open as caused by this filter cutoff automation clip. And this is where we're also introducing a second synth pad layer for more brightness and impact, which is the Jupiter's Past and Present preset from Omnisphere. And to help the pre-chorus further transition to the chorus, we also have this Vengeance Uplifter sample playing underneath. This now leads to our chorus, where the energy shifts a bit, although a lot of the elements from the previous sections are repeated. For starters, our synth pads continue to play throughout, though our progression differs slightly through the use of some additional higher notes that induce more tension. Our bass follows the same progression, but it is being altered to something different compared to the verse bass with a much faster and groovier 16th note rhythm. I'm also using some different sounds for the bass, one of them coming from Trillion, which is the TR Big Wet Funk preset, followed by another coming from Serum, which adds a bit more attack, and these two are being layered with our initial sub bass from Silent 1. Now, there is some processing going on, especially on the Trillion layer, to have it sounding as impactful as it needs to be, which I will walk you through. I have a 1-up feather to bring an immediate boost to our low end and overall presence of our sound. I then have an R bass to help make the low end sound more solid and full. I have an OTT to add a bit more bite and sparkle to the high end, followed by a tel chorus, which adds a bit of harmonics. Then I'm applying Magma BB tubes by Waves to ensure our bass sounds heavier without being too overbearing. And finally, I'm running the bass through a glue compressor to make sure it sounds slightly more controlled. Now lastly, and this is crucial, we're introducing this crash sample at the beginning of the chorus, and some tambourine and shaker loops that all come from Splice to add more energy, swing, and groove to our chorus and to tie everything together. Now, what I really appreciate from Purple Disco Machine is the amount of effort he puts into his transitions, especially through fills. And fills is the last thing I want to talk about in today's production breakdown. The first fill we hear in this song is the one between the intro and the verse, which is a combination of synth and drums. For the synth, which plays these ascending notes, I'm using the flaming Eurosynth in Omnisphere, along with some reverb to create this drowned out sound. For the drums part of the fill, we're using a few samples from the Cashmere pack, which sound like this. And together, our intro fill sounds like this. The second fill, which is the one that connects the verse with the pre-chorus, comes from Keyscape and is the MKS20 Vibes preset, which plays the exact same notes as the notes played in the second half of the first synth fill. And finally, our last synth fill comes from Omnisphere and is the Thin Melody Maker preset, which is effectively a saw square wave combo that sounds quite bright and dreamy. And this one is used right before the chorus, together with the drum fill we discussed before. And it's also used during the chorus to add some extra melodic phrases, which makes the chorus sound more interesting. And that leads us to the end of today's video. Before listening to the final result of our remake, I encourage you to get active in the comments below by sharing your thoughts. And as always, download the free project files, stems and MIDI files so you can explore everything within the session at your own pace. I look forward to seeing you all next week, and let's now listen to the remake.